Welcome, welcome to Off the Cuff Wednesday edition. What a show I got for you today. Um, Before I get into that, we have several ways that we fundraise. It's very important. We were given, for those of you that are new, we were given a prophetic word by Prophet Kim Clement that we worked with for many years. And the gatherings that we do around the country is the fulfillment of that prophetic word. So the fundraisers that we do, that's where we put the money, because that's where what costs us, and that keeps our ministry moving forward. Now, you've helped us a lot, but I got some new stuff for you today. You might like to help us more. There's two things. First of all, it's a Patriot company that we deal with. Instead of buying at Walmart or Publix or whatever, they have incredible grass-fed beef from Idaho. All kinds of things, clean products, cleaning products. Go to wearetakingitback.com, leave your name and phone number. We'll text you. No spamming. No spamming. Don't worry about it. Also, joyandcountry.com. It's our daughter's store, and she does it it goes toward allowing us to do the gatherings as well. So she sent this over yesterday. Look at this. I have the navy blue on, unapologetically free and proud. And if you know me, there is no apologizing for that. So when she brought this over, I kind of did my little dance because I love it. It also comes in crew neck, comes in other colors. And then also the fight. This says fight. And he's still fighting. And this is the crystal bracelet, the fight bracelet. It also has a little heart with a flag engraved on it, and a little jewel there. This is just gorgeous. I don't even know what to tell you. It's gorgeous. And then matching is the 3-stone red, white, and blue USA flag crystal earrings also. This is also crystals, okay? Now, the only other thing Jenna asked me to show you was one of the car charms. Some of them they are out of, okay? Now, but they are on order, so she'll get, like, the lilac angel wing one is out of stock, but she will get more back in probably in the next couple of weeks. There's this one. There are others as well. It says forgiven. This is a piece of slate. Okay, it hangs on your rearview mirror. I just love these things. I love them, and I just love them. And Dennis thinks I'm crazy, but I love them. And there's a bunch of other ones with angel wings and all kinds of things. So go there. Everything is linked in the description. Okay, so if you need to look where that is, you want a direct link, do that. Or go to Delora, Delora's Closet on joyandcountry.com. That's her website. And wait till you see. Oh, I should have brought one. Oh, Dennis, can you go get me one of my tumblers I love? Go get me one of my tumblers. All right. The tumblers are now, she's going to kill me for showing these, but I believe she's got them up. She put these up, and there's also a flash sale going on, 325 boutique items, 20% off, all kinds of things. She's killing it over there. I'm telling you, my daughter is killing it for us. And remember, always free shipping. And if you're new and you never bought from joyandcountry.com, you can use the code WELCOME10 and get 10% off your whole order. And it looks like Dennis is not bringing me the tumbler, but that's okay. That's okay. When he wants a pumpkin pie, I'm going to remember this. Okay, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I don't know where he is. He's off somewhere. All right, before I bring these guys on, I want to just give you a little disclaimer, okay? The people I have on, we pretty much see eye to eye on things. And I might with what they're saying, and I might not. And they may not agree with me. And that's okay. And this is what we ask you to do. Anything you hear, anything that is said, you have to go check it out yourself, verify it, do your due diligence. Disagreeing with respect is healthy. We were taught that disagreeing over the past 10 years or so was bad. And if you disagreed with someone politically or the way they see things, or even religiously, then you're like, you're the demon and you need to be away from me. And I don't agree with that. I don't profess that. And these two do as well. That's why I have them on. We can disagree and love each other. And I might not disagree with them, or they might not disagree with each other. But I have to say this disclaimer, because if you don't have an open mind today, and I know these guys, this could really rock your boat. Okay. So it's all I'm going to say. And let me bring them on. Again, I love them dearly. Amazing guys. Let me just bring on Joe. Joe, how you doing, baby? Excited to have you on off the cuff. It's first time. And then, of course, a man that is never at a loss for knowledge and always has a perspective that is very interesting, Johnny Patriot. Hey, Johnny, how are you,
Hello.
Ben?
Good afternoon. Don't tell my wife that.
Okay.
That I have knowledge.
But you do. That's what attracted me to you.
Johnny.
Knowledge. Anyway, the people our off the cuff audience, I know, is very excited to see both of you. All I ask from you guys is if you could mute yourself, and I will do the same thing when you're not speaking, and because I know with a few people it can get a little crazy and we get feedback and stuff. And also, I want to say this. Please don't feel bad unmuting yourself and jumping in. If I say something, jump in. This is what I told them. I said, it can be a conversation. Even at the end, maybe instead of questions, we'll have a conversation. It's okay that we converse like this. It can be like The View, but without the demons. So that's what I told them today. And so let me just open up real quick, guys. And then Joe, I'll go to you, and then I'll go to Johnny. And again, please feel free. This can be don't think you're cutting me off. You can cut me off. We'll cut you off, whatever. Let's make it a conversation. Okay. Some of you have probably heard some of this before we begin. So let me lay a little foundation here. But now I want you to listen to a lot of this in the light of what is being uncovered right now in the season we are in, both naturally and spiritually. There's not another place on the entire earth that we know of the earth that has more mystery and controversy than Antarctica. Most Congress people and those involved as ambassadors and in different areas of the government, judges, governors, mayors, they don't have a clue of what could possibly be going on down there. So you can't get mad and angry at all of these people because they really believe what most people have believed for years. Some of it could be true. Some of it could be false. All of it could be false. We don't know. So for the new people, before I go to Joe, real quick, there is an Antarctic treaty. It's the only treaty in the entire world that countries have agreed to keep peace there and agreed to literally zero wars. Now, my question is, if they can do that with Antarctica, why can't they do that with the rest of the world? What is creating the bubble in Antarctica that they absolutely agreed that there will be no testing of weapons, no nuclear war, no constructing of military bases? It became enforced in 1961. the same year that JFK was inaugurated to be president. Very interesting. There's no territorial sovereignty on Antarctica. My question is, why is the whole world following these guidelines? Iran recently claimed ownership over Antarctica and plans to put a military base there. That happened about a year ago. They've done nothing. It almost seems like they found out something and they were trying to push truth. They claim that they own Antarctica and will move forward with plans to settle that confident. Nothing has happened. Was it a veiled threat? Of course. They're not part of the Antarctic Treaty. At the beginning, it was 12 countries, and now there are 54 countries who have signed it. Joe, with that foundation, where are you going, brother? Joe.
That look on his face.
Joe, you want really? Johnny to go next? It's up to you.
Well,
go ahead, Joe.
Real quick, no, I actually had the Antarctic Treaty already pulled up when you had pulled it up as well. And
awesome.
Man, I didn't know it was that many countries there now, because I'm looking here and it says it was signed in Washington on December 1st, 1959. And at the time, let's see, it was Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, United Kingdom, United States, and USSR at that time.
Now, let me tell you what's interesting about that is that those 12 countries said they were interested in that because they were all very close to Antarctica. I don't see on a global Earth France and Russia being close to Antarctica. I don't know what that is, but go ahead, Joe. Now there are 54.
Now there are 54. Okay. And you were talking about, I think it was Iran who wanted to put a base there. Didn't Russia put a base there? Didn't
scientific
put a base
scientific base, not military.
Okay, scientific. Okay, which means they know some stuff too. But it's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of, as Doge, I believe will look into the whole Antarctica stuff. But Antarctica is very interesting. There's been so many mysteries that have been, people have been trying to find out what's going on in Antarctica, why. Hardly nobody can go there. Why do they have an ice wall? People talking about the ice wall. People have been trying to actually get over the ice wall. And I've seen videos where military has come out and stopped them. And there's just so many things that are going on there. Who is that? John Kerry and even Obama and different other governmental officials have been to Antarctica.
Yeah. Klaus.
Why is he going down there? Why are these people going to Antarctica? What is it about Antarctica that is so fascinating that nobody's really talking about it on the news, and they haven't been for a while, but online there's a lot of talk about Antarctica. So I'm glad I just want to say I'm glad we're doing this conversation, because this is the beginning of more conversation. I think as things roll out and they find out more things about Antarctica, it's going to need to be more talked about so people can get more of an understanding.
Amen, Joe. Johnny, what do you got?
Klaus is like, me and my pals, we are having a party down at the most inhospitable place on the planet.
Laying in the sun. In the sun.
So I'm going to talk about some things that we as a group have never talked about with Antarctica or myself, and that doesn't come up on a regular basis, but is more modern information. And I think some of this will sit okay with people, some won't. But first of all, talking about the Antarctic Treaty, just after World War II, you've got a huge tension around the globe. Like, people are very unsettled. Like, the dust is still settling from the dropping of the bombs on Hiroshima. And it's just, the world is very unsettled. And normally we can't come together on anything, but suddenly you have all these countries decide to come together and, hey, okay, we're gonna sign a treaty. So all these countries sign a treaty.
What's up with that, Johnny?
So,
what is up with that?
I'll as Jen Psaki would say, we're gonna come back around to that. So for those of you that might watch TikTok videos and see some of the crazy stuff that appears on some of those videos, some of those things are just out there, and you really have to take them with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of AI videos out there now, and just a lot of BS stuff. So if you remember the Miami Mall deal, people were talking about portal opening up at Miami Mall, aliens walking out, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Here's a strange thing. And I took this with a grain of salt at first and then kind of dug into it a little bit. If you take the coordinates, the actual geographic coordinates of Miami Mall, and you reverse them, it puts you right in the middle of Antarctica.
What?
Literally, if you flip that around, flip the coordinates around backwards, it puts you right in the middle of Antarctica. And let's see here. So, and this goes to the theory of,
wow.
Like NASA, the not a space agency. We'll bring them up right now because they're very intimately involved with what's happening in Antarctica right now.
Right.
Whether people want to believe it or not. Everybody reports to NASA. That's all I got to say. Everybody reports to NASA. CIA, FBI, whoever it is, countries, everybody reports to NASA. The whole space thing is just a front for a bunch of other crap. So in 2008, normally, science has said cosmic rays come from outer space and they bombard the Earth every day. Like if you took a meter or whatever, you could actually register cosmic rays in your house. Like they bombard the Earth every day, and they only come from space. At least that's what we thought until 2008. So not a space agency did an experiment in Antarctica. They discovered that cosmic rays were emanating from the South Pole. So cosmic rays were being transmitted into space and not the other way around. So this was coming from the South Pole. So fast forward to 2020, not a space agency again. And this, again, you kind of have to take some of the things they publish with a grain of salt, because sometimes they do this to form a narrative, to get in front of something eventually down the road. So in 2020, they discovered evidence. So in addition to the South Pole emitting cosmic rays into space, in 2020, they discovered evidence of a parallel universe in Antarctica. Only in Antarctica, they discovered evidence of a parallel universe where the rules of physics are the opposite of what they are anywhere else. And they still are investigating it, and they can't explain it. Well, they're trying to explain it as when the Big Bang happened, that two universes were created at the same time. And
yeah.
But there's a lot of things that they're admitting are happening in Antarctica right now that don't apply to our physics. They run opposite of what our physics are. So you have the cosmic ray thing, you have the physics, and if you're like a nerd like me that's kind of watched Star Trek, blah, 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 as a kid, you'll be familiar with the term tachyon. Tachyon is a particle that's always been associated with time travel. And I think, all this cosmic ray stuff, parallel universe stuff, and tachyons all ties into like advanced propulsion systems and advanced communication systems, whether it's through opening a portal to a parallel universe, as we know CERN seems to be a fan of. So I'm going to end with that for this first little go around, because my brain's about to explode and I just want to get into everything else that I have. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, Johnny.
But
Johnny, when you brought that up, the thing I thought about was, what do they call those lights that come from like the I guess when you're in the North Pole or whatever, that come from the
Aurora?
sky.
Aurora Borealis
Yeah.
type of stuff. Yeah.
Because we were getting those recently here in New Jersey in the Pennsylvania area, and they were talking about the news how this is the first time or something that's ever happened. And I mean, they talked about it like it was nothing, but it was like it's something to that. Why are we seeing these northern lights or whatever they call it? I forget what they call them.
Well, they're talking like the pole is shifting, like the poles are shifting, and that they're trying to explain it away with that, like since the poles are, the magnetic pole is moving east or whatever it is, they're trying to and south or whatever, they're trying to explain it that way.
Yeah. So they can get money.
Yes, for funding, for research.
Bottom line. Okay, let me jump to this next bit. That's a little bit interesting. The German National Socialist Society in 1938 sent several exhibitions to Antarctica. Germany annexed a part of eastern Antarctica. Yes, Hitler had been there. And yes, the Germans at that time and many before them confessed there is a massive ice wall that surrounds Antarctica. You can hear that everywhere. There's pictures of it everywhere. They also discovered that beneath the surface, there are massive caverns. There's a thriving ecosystem, plants, trees, wildlife. Germany established a U-boat base there. It's called Base 211. And then I want to go into Revelation a little bit here. Philippians 2:10, Revelation 5:3, and Revelation 5:13. This is what Paul writes. That at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things on earth and things under the earth. John is recording his vision in the book of Revelation when he writes, no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Now, that was in Philippians and in Revelation. Now, people say, oh, he's talking about Hades. I don't hear him talking about Hades. He doesn't say that at all. You can't put things in the word of God that don't exist. Revelation 5:3, verse 13, and every creature which is in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them. So it's a very interesting thing. Now, I'm going to play the rest of my time a couple of minute video. You can hardly find this everywhere. I have about 30 minutes of Admiral Byrd. You can only find a couple minutes now anywhere. I've had this for about 15 years. I edit it down to a couple of minutes. You must listen to this with the ear of today, not the ear of in the 40s, early 50s. Watch this.
You've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, an expedition to which I believe you're the advisor is now en route. What is that expedition doing?
Well, that's the icebreaker Atka, and it's a reconnaissance expedition. It's going down to the South Pole area to make certain observations and to look for some bases. They will be back in April, and they will report back, and upon the information we get from that undertaking, we will base the bigger expedition that's to follow. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. Even now, if anything happened and we lost the Panama Canal, we would have to control the islands just north of Antarctica, which are part of Antarctica.
Is there a competition among other nations to try to get information about Antarctica and possibly to secure some of these resources?
Well, yes. There are now 7 nations very much interested. Russia is interested tremendously. That I'm sure of. Australia has an expedition down there. The Argentine, the Chile, New Zealand, Britain, and so on. Now, you can understand those people down there being interested because they live down there, the New Zealanders, the Argentinians, the Chileans, and Australians. And so we don't do much about claiming anything.
Admiral, you make this sound a little crowded. Are there that many expeditions now there or en route there?
Well, you know, as I said, it's the most peaceful place in the world, but I don't think it will be for long because of this intense interest on the part of other nations and this nation.
But may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau, 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents that are slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the South is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000.
There was about 10 comms in there. Panama Canal. Oh, if we ever lose the Panama Canal. I mean, there it is right there. Is that why Trump was dead set on getting the Panama Canal? A reconnaissance mission was sent there. A reconnaissance mission is when you go and you seek out what is happening there from an enemy. That's a reconnaissance mission. And what is really interesting is they call Antarctica Little America. Why? Johnny, what do you got until Joe gets back here?
Yeah, deep state got him or something. Almost every map that was produced before 1700 shows Antarctica connected to South America and also without ice. And a lot of the older maps show interesting creatures, like unicorns, camels, elephants, lizard-looking things, and a race of monkey people. Apparently that's a thing too. But to Admiral Byrd's point, Antarctica, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, Antarctica is the highest elevation continent on the Earth. It is by far, it eclipses everything else on the Earth. As a continent, the entire continent is higher than any other continent. There are, let's see, modern day apps, like recently over the last 4 years because of what was happening, a lot of people got into the whole, following airplanes and, who's registered to them, where they're going, especially with the Gitmo thing. But there's similar apps that track shipping and shipping lanes and manifests and that kind of thing. I follow somebody that follows or does a lot of those videos, and he follows these ships every day. And on several occasions, if you look at the number of ships out in the ocean at any given time, especially around Antarctica, there's a few spots you would think you would see stuff like around McMurdo Base and around typically places where they send supplies. But on many occasions, you see like the red and the different colored dots or whatever represent the ships seemingly in the middle of the ice. And they're in a line, like there's a shipping lane through the center of Antarctica, but there's no water there.
That's right.
And so, I mean, that should say something, that, and a lot of these ships have interesting or interesting names, or they're unnamed, unregistered type of ships. Like you can't find out any information about them. And to your point about the caverns and the underworld in Antarctica, we're not even going to get into the whole Agartha and that kind of stuff, because that's a whole nother show. But it's been documented.
Mars? You mean Mars? Where is Mars?
Yeah.
Ding,
But it's
ding,
been-
ding.
Yes, but it's been documented. Many of those caverns, even
Right.
close to the surface, are 68 to 72 degrees inside those caverns. And let me back up a little bit. Our buddy Buzz Aldrin, we all, the Not a Space Agency frontman, who's come out and completely destroyed children's notion of going to the moon and blah, blah, blah. And, like, he's an enigma, because he'll come out and he'll just say, well, we never went to the moon. Like, straight to some kid's face in an interview. It's like, yeah, we never went to the moon. So he went to Antarctica. I think this was in 2016, like when John Kerry went. I don't know if it was around the same time as the election, but so he went to Antarctica for undisclosed reasons.
It was the day before the election.
And where he went into was McMurdo, which is where everybody goes into. But he ended up on the southwest side of Antarctica, which is like a good 6-hour-ish flight for a C-130 if you're coming from McMurdo. So if something happened there, minimum of 6 hours to get there, 6 hours to get back. So 12 hours to get any help, like to get back. So he made a strange tweet. Where is it here? Yeah, his tweet was, and I quote, "We have seen the faces of evil and we are all in danger." So Buzz Aldrin proceeds to have a heart attack, and they have to try and get him out of Antarctica. So they come from McMurdo with the C-130, blah, 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 and they go to pick him up and yada, yada, yada. And it was a whole big thing. So why was he there, first of all, and then why did he make a cryptic tweet and then had a heart attack? So tying in with that, there was a group of 14 scientists. I don't remember what countries they were from, but they also came into McMurdo, and this was around the same time, a little earlier, I think. And there's this southwest place that people seem to keep going to and disappearing off the map. These people were supposed to check in every day at certain times, so everybody knew that they were okay, because they didn't actually have a base there. They were living in tents. And people don't realize that the temperatures can get to 50 below and the winds can get to 200 miles an hour in Antarctica. I mean, these are extreme conditions in some places. So the base in McMurdo lost contact with these scientists for almost a week. Like they didn't check in, and then like every day they tried to check back in. So they arranged hey, let's go check on these guys kind of thing and figure out what's going on. So I saw a whistleblower video of one of the pilots of one of the C-130s that go on these missions. This one was on that particular mission. He was one of the crew members, and one of the pilots was with him. So they were ordered to go check on these scientists. They get there, they land, and nobody's there. All the tents and everything are there, the supplies are there, but there are no people where they're supposed to be. They're all gone.
What year was this?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I'll have to double check.
Okay.
But it wasn't too long ago. I mean, it was around the same time as the Buzz Aldrin thing.
Okay.
And so they were like, where did they go? Nobody could so they come back to McMurdo because there was nobody there to pick up. And then like the next day or the day after, they get a radio contact from those guys, from the scientists, and so asking to get picked up. So they go back and the scientists are all there. And instead of grabbing their stuff and their equipment or whatever. They're all literally standing in front, like in a line. Almost, it was, from the way he described it, they were literally like just lined up next to each other, and they all had very somber looks on their face, and many of them were looking at their feet, like they were not looking ahead or forward. And they literally just got on the plane. They didn't get any of their stuff, any of their personal belongings. They just got on the plane and they brought them back. And the psychologist or the doctor that was in charge of, looking over these guys and gals described it as like a mass, like they had seen or participated in something that affected their mind. Like they had major PTSD. Like it was just like they weren't able to deal with reality anymore. They were like, they had been scared out of their minds for whatever reason. And this was in the same area that Buzz Aldrin was visiting and had his heart attack and had to be flown out.
Yeah, real quick, I'm going to let you continue, but
I'm done with
there is about a year and a half ago, it's a member of the gathering community emailed me that her brother was part of that whole thing that went on down there.
Yeah, it was called the National Science Foundation Camp. Those are the scientists who were involved with that.
And I asked if he would come on the show. And she said he won't even talk about it. He won't even go near it.
Yeah, these people were apparently, according to everybody that checked them out, they were never the same. Like they were not emotionally or mentally the same anymore. Like they were just like they were lost. Like they couldn't communicate.
Severe trauma.
Yeah, they were not able to function in society. No. Like they were just.
It's amazing.
Joe? That's all I got.
Wow. Yeah, that's something. I mean, just can you imagine? I mean, we can't imagine what they've experienced going down there. I mean, there's been talks of pyramids being under the ice and all types of worlds under there. I'm really intrigued to see if Doge gets to the point where they pretty much expose and bring out what is hidden in Antarctica. Because a lot of people may think that, okay, this is like above, even President Trump and his administration. How are they going to be able to even get close or enter into Antarctica and deal with this type of stuff?
Breadcrumbs. You understand? Yeah. Breadcrumbs. It can't be. Yeah. It's like Panama Canal.
Right.
That will lead. It's got to be breadcrumbs because people are going to freak out.
They got to connect the dots and they got to do it slowly so people can understand, have more of an understanding of what they're seeing when things really get exposed. It's something we've been talking about this for quite a while. And can you imagine those who are like, experiencing this stuff for the first time when it does actually come out and they're like, wait, there's pyramids there, there's this, there's that. And, and this is why they got to have the breadcrumbs because you can't put it on them. Like they'll be like, Johnny, like how you were saying that those guys were, I mean, they would be the same. Like what in the world just happened? Like, they would be out of it. But I think they're going to get the breadcrumbs. I think they're going to put things together. And when we do find out a lot of what's been happening and what is in Antarctica and under Antarctica, it will really explain a lot of our history as well. And I think it might allow the Bible to make more sense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about it, a lot of us have heard about Operation Paperclip.
Yes.
And a lot of those scientists from there. I want to be able to put this on YouTube as well. So from over during World War II, they came over here to work at not a space agency, and the thing is there's also the one that intrigues me the most is Project Fishbowl. Now, I'm not going to go down that road really, but you know, it's like you heard in Admiral Byrd's video, aircraft reconnaissance began near Antarctica at the end of January 1947, mostly in the northern part, around Queen Maud Land, and covered more than 22,000 air kilometers. Now, look, there's over 70,000 photographs. A lot of them are online. You can find a lot of this stuff. A lot of it's on the dark web. I won't go there again. I went there once in my life, and I saw something that really did a number on me, and I cried for a month. So I don't go near that place again. But the research voyage of Admiral Byrd's, scheduled for 5 months, was ended abruptly, and in public, and it was like it was acknowledged publicly that it was canceled in 2 months, but no one seemed to explain why. Also, how about the operation's early end was all but covered in like a veil of silence around the world? Like everybody was watching for this, and the press dropped it. Everything happened. But what happened, 1961 was the Antarctic Treaty was ratified, and more countries were added as they went on. But in both 2008, and this is what you were talking about, Johnny, and 2016, the day before, John Kerry went to Antarctica. Barack Obama's been there. Russian patriarch's been there. James Clapper has been there. An Australian, several popes, several presidents, Buzz Aldrin, as you said. Putin in 2017 was reported to be going there, but he never went. Werner von Braun, other NASA members, Anthony Bourdain. I mean, these people out of nowhere go there, and they're not going there to sun themselves, obviously. They're going there because there's something there that they cannot get any other place. Next time around, I'll go into Operation Fishbowl, but go ahead, Johnny.
Well, who's that guy that does like the chef that does like maybe it's the Iron Chef, whatever his name is, the blonde guy that always cursing at people.
Yeah.
He was there.
With the hair like that.
Top chef or something.
He was there recently.
Yeah.
Not too long
I
ago.
didn't know that.
Antarctica? He was at Antarctica?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
And he came
I
back.
love his shows. I love his shows, but I've always questioned him.
And he posted like these, and because it led up to the Super Bowl, and he was advertising a new line of pots and pans or whatever, a new technology. But it was funny that up until then, he kept doing these mysterious tweets from a plane that was clearly on a runway in Antarctica. And he said something about it's all in the pan, and there's like this little tiny mini pan laying on by his arm on the plane, and it was a new technology. That's all he would say. It was a new technology, and it was for his new line of pans. But anyway, so a lot of people even if you don't believe any of this, you have to at least acknowledge the fact that since my lifetime anyway, there's always been something going on, or some mystery or something weird with Antarctica. Whether you want to believe it or not, you have to at least acknowledge that it's been a point of interest for as long as I can remember anyway. And there's always been something strange going on there. Always, nothing normal. It's always been something strange. If you think about, let me go back, like to the people that have the money and the influence or whatever the means to secure themselves during let's say somebody decides to flip the switch and flood the earth again, or like there's a nuclear holocaust, or there's whatever the case is. In 2001, it was first observed. I think I have a picture of it. it looked like a small city was emerging from the ice. And let's see.
You have the picture?
Yeah. I got so many of them. It's just, I want to
I
pick
know.
one.
I didn't know where to go today.
All right, let's present.
Is it a PDF?
Yeah.
It's an image. Let's see here.
Oh, I don't know if it's not a PDF, you may have an issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
But let's see. Maybe you can.
Well, here I'll just share my screen then. We'll do that. Let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Share screen. Share screen. Entire screen. Bam.
Okay, got it.
All right. So in 2001, images like this started appearing on satellite maps in Antarctica, and I have the coordinates are on one of the pictures I have. But from this picture, you could clearly see what looks like either a building or some kind of structure that's being revealed, whether the ice is melting or it's whatever the case is. You can clearly see tire tracks and that kind of stuff around it. Like somebody's like, hey, what is this? Let me go to a picture that's zoomed out a little bit. So here's that same area. What looks like all these buildings or whatever you want to call them. There's like a road next to it. We can see tire tracks or whatever leading up to it. Let's see here. It's just, and it's big. It's like 4,000 feet long, whatever that is. It's about 4,000 feet long. And so we can close that, I guess. So in 2001, that started appearing. In 2009, it became more prominent. And then in 2013 was when these pictures where it was kind of completely visible were taken. So between that and all the other stuff that you can freely find on Google Earth, there are clearly man-made openings into mountainsides, oddly shaped tunnels that, kind of look like something could fly into it or fly out of it.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, when you guys go look and you see a tunnel that is shaped maybe like this from the outside, like a half moon, and it looks very tiny, like only a man could walk in. That is huge.
Yeah.
The plateau in the ice wall, they're I don't know how high they go, but
the smallest one's like 96 feet wide or something like that.
So that's what you got to remember. Johnny, keep going. Go ahead.
And speaking of Google Earth, since we're all familiar with,
let me ask you something. Okay. Did you ever try to get coordinates and go down into Antarctica further than just the northern part? Because I can't get down there. That's
where I was kind of going with this. Like,
okay,
we've all become familiar with certain powers that be forming narratives. And over the last 4 years, we've gotten pretty good at kind of seeing them occur and being developed in real time to steer narratives, to steer thought processes, to whatever. Anywhere else on the earth, if you go to the United States, Afghanistan, whatever, Australia, you can pretty much dial in down to the street level very clear images, smooth images from space to ground level. Smooth, no jaggedness, no anything. In Antarctica, there's only a few places where you get that same smooth kind of image resolution. But for the most part, like Delora was stating, you go to click on some of these areas and you can't get to the surface level. And you get all these interesting looking little rectangles and things like where they've tried to patch images together. So, which leads me to think, if they're allowing you to understand or to see these images of these openings and some of these bases and some of these other things, and they're okay with that. I mean, are they okay with whatever narrative evolves from that, but they don't want you to see anywhere else because it's not the size and shape that they tell you it is? If you look at any of the old maps, literally Antarctica takes up the entire southern 3/4 of the map. Like if you're 180 degrees, it takes up the entire thing.
And the land beyond that Admiral
Yes.
Byrd said.
And that's where I was going. That
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. It lands beyond Antarctica.
Yeah, with what you're able to, these map makers were able to see or, document.
Right.
But there's a lot of, like, I think Delora did a show on it, and I did end up buying the book with that Explorer with all the lands beyond.
Yes.
Like Mars and all the planets they talk about, and all the extraterrestrial space just means more land, not necessarily outer space, but more.
That's
land.
what it means. Literally, extraterrestrial means more land.
So when you're talking about like more land, extraterrestrial areas, I really think that we're kind of meant to be segregated. Like we're not ready to interact with all these people or entities in all these other lands. Like we're like in our own little terrarium. Like keep the humans over here. We need to keep them segregated. We don't want them knowing the full potential of what's going on and what's happening right now. And
incredible.
The old pictures, speaking of the old pictures, like from High Jump and other missions to that area, a lot of those images, when you look at them, the background looks like it's ice. Like the sky looks like it's ice, like it's crystallized. And it's not a photographic trick. It's that, it looks that way. And the encyclopedia pre-1958 and before, if you go to Antarctica, if you can find an old Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever from 1958 or older, go look up Antarctica, and it will say what I have it written down here. I think basically it's just describing a aerial flyby kind of description that at 13,000 feet they encountered a dome at the edge of where the Antarctica would be. Like they encountered a dome at 13,000 feet.
And that is what Admiral Byrd said.
Yes.
That at the edges, he's gone as high as 15,000, he said, but that's it. So if you can imagine it being like that, the edges of the dome will be the most, the smallest distance, where it would be 13,000 feet. Go ahead.
Oh, that's what I got. And I was just kind of leading to, because you're talking about the Bible, the idea of the firmament and the whole, whether you're a flat earther or otherwise, there's still the idea that we could be living in like a fishbowl. We could have.
Did you ever see the show? Did you ever see the show Under the Dome?
No, I don't think I have.
No. From several years ago. Go look it up. Very interesting. Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, I mean the Bible talks about all this, because looking in Isaiah, chapter 34, verses 4, he prophesies, I believe, part of the judgment on earth. And on verse 4, he talks about how all the hosts of heaven shall rot away, and the skies roll up like a scroll. Like, wow, that tells you a whole lot. And I've read these scriptures, this scriptures so many times, but now that we talk about, what we're, talking about with the dome and things like that, it's like, oh, this makes sense. It has to roll. The skies have to roll up, because if it's a dome, it's got to roll upwards. It just little things like that is just very fascinating. I was about to say something too. A good movie to watch. I believe that speaks a lot of truth especially when it comes to Antarctica. If you go watch Godzilla versus Kong,
Oh yeah, with the Inner Earth and everything. Yeah.
With the Inner Earth and everything.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, part 2 is called the New Empire. Godzilla versus Kong, the New Empire. That's part 2 of it. Part 1 is good too. You can watch part 1 because they talk about Inner Earth, and actually they go to Antarctica to get to Inner Earth on part 1.
I'll tell you, it's all revealed.
Yeah,
they're telling us all in the movies, and there's like another civilization in Inner Earth that they talk about in part 2, and they show the people. And Johnny, you were talking about those different rays,
everything being upside down and backwards.
Yeah,
because if you look at that second movie, everything was upside down and backwards. Yeah. As far as the physics goes.
Yeah, it was like a intertwined parallel universe or some type of thing. It all shows in the movie. So those are 2 good movies to go watch, part 1 and part 2, if you want to really kind of get a little bit of insight.
Movies to me are more like documentaries.
Yeah. Look at the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Really?
They are.
Are you kidding? All right, I'm going to just touch this briefly, and then I'm going to let you each have a last word, because we're almost at that time. 1962, Operation Fishbowl. Just want to go down there since we're talking about the dome and things like that, and the biblical reference to the firmament. Basically, Operation Fishbowl, I believe it was also called Operation Dominic something. I just remember the Dominic because it's an Italian name, and I have an uncle Dominic, so I remember that. So the Operation Fishbowl was like a series of high-altitude nuclear bombs that were shot in the air. Now, they say that they were trying to make sure that the nuclear bombs worked. It's absurd. Why? You built a nuclear bomb. You kidding me? You saw the nuclear bomb. You saw it, Hiroshima. You saw it. Why do you need to test nuclear bombs? Why would they detonate bombs in space? So what happened was flight test vehicles that were designed and manufactured by Avco Corporation. You guys want to go down a rabbit hole? Go down that. Very interesting. The other rabbit hole you might want to go down is looking up in about the ice ages that have happened. That's a rabbit hole that is so deep you ain't going to find the bottom of. The 4th attempt in Operation Fishbowl at the bluegill test, it was launched on October 25th, 1962. And it resulted in detonation of sub-megaton nuclear warheads. And it was reported that, and those that saw it, is that it hit something and they exploded above the earth. After they did this for 2 years, in 1963, testing in the atmosphere was banned. Very, very interesting. Aquagirl, I don't know that. Or is that a psyop? To say that it is a psyop. See, you really don't know. You got to remember, because someone says it's a psyop, doesn't mean something is a psyop. It could be a psyop telling you that it's a psyop. We don't know. We still do not know. Johnny, final thought, and then Joe, final thought.
All right, I'm going to share my screen again real quick because I found that picture I was looking for. This is from 1920 from George Rayner. And this is what I was talking about. When you look behind that mountain there, you look at that kind of that crystal looking, background. And I just, I don't know if you guys can see that clearly, but it looks like when you get freezing rain on your windshield, like if you're in your car sitting overnight, you get freezing rain. That's what it looks like.
Right.
This is from 1920.
Is this an actual picture?
Yes. Yeah, it's from George Rayner, 1920.
Wow.
I just
Wow.
thought that was interesting, but I guess my final thought would be we're just tapping, we're just scratching the surface of a lot of things. I mean, we're living in a time of revelation, whether it's Antarctica or whatever. We're finding out a lot of things that have been kept from us purposely to keep us dumb or to be subservient, to serve an agenda, whatever, like the whole 9 to 5 thing, get a college education, get married, blah, blah, blah. Keep you busy, to keep you from asking questions. You're too busy supporting a family to think about anything. So with Antarctica, yes. So with Antarctica, I think you guys hit it on the head with this whole, I don't know if it's Christy Noam that's in charge of that department, like with the JFK files and that kind of stuff. But I think, to Joe's point, there's probably world leaders that don't have any access or knowledge to what's really going on in Antarctica, and it's divvied out to the people that they want involved. But Trump is smart enough, as you stated, to get people there. If he can't get there, he can get people's faces and eyes and ears and noses and whatever brains on Antarctica. And think about this. This will be my final thought. Think about this. Back in the age of exploration and, where people were trying to do world firsts, like cross the Atlantic, cross the English Channel, do all these different things around the world in 80 days, blah, blah, blah. There has never been a trans-global flight or circumnavigated flight from north to south around the world. It's always been east to west. Never has there been one allowed to go north to south over the poles around this way around the world. So keep that in mind.
Very interesting. It's all so interesting. Just the fact that Admiral Byrd, and I keep going back to this, said there is land no one has ever seen beyond Little America, which they call Antarctica, which is bizarre to me right there. The fact that that is true, and it is nowhere on any of our maps, is question enough for me. Joe, final thought.
Yeah, like you said earlier, somebody brought up about flat Earth being a psyop. It's you really don't know unless it's revealed to you. And I saw Antarctica as a tropical land while I was sleeping, and I guess in my dream. But in that dream, it was like I was there, and I knew Antarctica used to be tropical land, and probably parts of it probably still is. We just don't know about it, and I didn't know about it in that dream. But when I woke up from that dream, I did my research, and lo and behold, they said in ancient times, or years and years and thousands of years ago, it was tropical land. So whether something's a psyop or not, you'll never know unless you seek the Lord on it. The Lord can show you, what is the truth. He's the spirit of truth, so he can show you what is true or not. So don't be so quick to judge things. Take it to the Lord, or just do your research and allow the Holy Spirit to lead you in the truth. So I'll leave you with that.
Absolutely. Listen, Johnny, you said it. We just scratched the surface. We need to do another one of these. So we'll go a little deeper. This was cognitive dissonance was not created here. And so that's good for the first one. We will do another one with this and Antarctica and beyond. That's what we have to do. And then
I would say beyond.
And beyond. And then we'll go and we'll see what we have here and it'll work. But thank you both. Hold on real quick. I just want to, guys, couple fundraisers help me out. I'm going to close with this, and before I say goodbye to my guests, there is the Patriot Company. We are takingitback.com. That's not the company. That's our website. Go there, leave your name and phone number, and we'll text you, let you know how you can buy from people that aren't trying to kill you, which is kind of nice. Also, I'm wearing from joincountry.com, unapologetically free and proud. This is navy V-neck, comes in crew neck. Also wearing the fight, fight, fight. I love this. This says fight, fight, fight. And it's red, white, and blue. It's all crystals. It's just gorgeous. And then also the earrings. I live in these. And so there's those as well. And then there's the car charms. There's a bunch of them. This is one of them. It says forgiven. It's on slate. It says Ephesians 4:32. There's tons of them. There's some of them are sold out. Jen will get them back in a couple of weeks. If you want, get the links in the description below. And this will also go up on YouTube, and hopefully I won't get a strike. And or go to Delora's Closet on joyandcountry.com. Jenna said there's a big flash sale going on, 325 boutique items. I think it's only like 3 or 4 days left, 20% off, free shipping always. And a lot of this stuff never goes on sale. So you're going to want to, there's a lot of new things. Go to the new tab, go to Joytopia. You'll see a lot of this stuff, and go look at the tumblers. Yow. They're like handmade. They're crafted, all handmade. Amazing, amazing stuff.
No pumpkin pie for Dennis.
What?
No pumpkin pie for Dennis.
What was that about? What was that
We'll
about?
take
He
his
didn't even
slices.
tell me the tumbler. He didn't get it. I don't think he doesn't watch his own wife. What are you gonna do? No pumpkin pie for you. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. We will do part 2 maybe next month, guys. You think we could do that? We'll do it next month. And Joe Dingle, thank you, my darling. As always, you're just a man of my heart. And Johnny Patriot, I appreciate you, Johnny, more than you know. I always tell you when I text you, I love you. I really do. You're a good
Thank
man.
you.
And I love the friendship of both of you. And thank you. So until next time, we're going to try to do this next month. We will see you next time. We'll do Antarctica and beyond, and get ready to put on a very open mind and see what we come up with.
Beyond the wall.
Beyond the wall. See you soon. Have a beautiful day. And remember, go in the power of God. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.